Hello, and welcome to the International Quilt Museum's virtual First Friday Fun. I'm Lauren Holt, Education Coordinator at the museum, and today we're going to be looking at quilts that were made by quilt makers from the Hopi tribe in northeastern Arizona. The Hopi people have lived in what is now known as northeastern Arizona for at least 900 years, with one village, Oraibi, being considered the oldest continuously inhabited settlement in North America. Many of the designs we see in Hopi quilts relate to Hopi spirituality and daily life. Because the Hopi tradition is a closed culture, there are many parts of their beliefs and ceremonies that they do not share with outsiders. From what has been shared, we know that corn is very important to the Hopi people, both as a source of food and as part of special ceremonies. This quilt by Milfred Dallas Jr. shows blocks of fabric onto which alternating bowls of corn and growing corn stalks have been painted. Each bowl holds 4 ears of corn, one blue, one yellow, one white, and one red, and each green corn stalk is also growing 4 colors of corn. The Hopi grow corn with dry farming techniques adapted to the arid weather of their home. These types of corn have longer roots that help the plants survive with less water, and the corn itself is more nutritious than many of the common types of corn grown in the United States. The blue corn is used to make traditional foods, and the white corn is used in ceremonies connected to motherhood and birth, such as the baby naming ceremony. Quilts are also an element of the baby naming ceremony, where new babies in the community are given both names and blankets. Quilts are a relatively new art form for the Hopi people. Quilt making was introduced to the Hopi by missionaries in the early 1900s and has become both a popular craft and a source of income for Hopi artists. Quilts are popular gifts in today's Hopi culture and are made to be used and loved and worn out. Because of this practice, there are not very many old Hopi quilts that still exist today. However, the Hopi have a long tradition of working with and gifting textiles. In Hopi culture, men spin, weave, and knit. This photo from 1906 shows 3 Hopi girls on top of an adobe building, each wrapped in a traditional style black and white wool blanket. Hopi women's traditional crafts are pottery, woven baskets, and woven plaques. In fact, one Hopi woman, named Nampeo, became famous for her pottery in the early 1900s. Nampeo created pottery based both on traditional patterns found on shards from prehistoric pots, and also on her own designs, which were often connected to Hopi history and culture. Today, her descendants still make pottery, and some also make quilts. This pottery shards quilt was made by Bonnie Nampeo Chapela, one of Nampeo's great-great-granddaughters. Like many Hopi quilters, Chapela blends quilting techniques with traditional Hopi design. The painted black, white, and rust red figures are done in curved shapes and the bold outline style of Hopi pottery paintings, while the colorful strip-pieced borders and jagged diagonal sashing pieces create an image similar to a crazy quilt. The 4 directions pot at right was made by another of Nampeo's descendants, Rachel Nampeo Sami, who also quilts. Like Nampeo's descendants, many Hopi families share their art across generations. Some Hopi today are 4th or 5th generation quilters who learned the art from their mothers and grandmothers. Shown here are an eagle dancer's quilt made by Edgar J. Turtle Tootsie when he was 12 years old, and a butterfly Kachina quilt made by his grandmother, Karen Tootsie, who helped him with that project. Both the eagle and the butterfly hold important spiritual significance for the Hopi. In this quilt, the 2 dancing eagle Kachinas, which represent strength and power, are framed by green, white, and rust red borders, the colors most often preferred in Hopi art. Butterflies are important symbols of beauty and rebirth in Hopi culture and are especially celebrated as pollinators. In the butterfly Kachina quilt, 2 pairs of Kachina figures with butterfly wings on their backs frame a blue butterfly on a pink rose. The paintings are delicate, the Kachinas wear detailed clothing in black, white, and green, and the painted blocks are framed by purple borders with alternating dark and light triangle patterns. Karen Tootsie herself learned to quilt by watching her grandparents, and many of her quilts include images of butterflies, Hopi children, or storybook characters. One Hopi storybook character who appears on Quilts is the Field Mouse from Field Mouse Goes to War, a bilingual Hopi English book written by Edward A. Kennard and illustrated by Hopi artist Fred Kubota. In this quilt, the mouse, in his kilt and war paint and carrying a war club, alternates places with the hawk in a checkerboard pattern. The story takes place in the Hopi village of Mishanovi, where a hawk has been killing the village's chickens. A field mouse who lives nearby hears of the problem and offers to kill the hawk for the village. Even though the villagers doubt that the mouse will be able to kill the hawk, they help him prepare for a dance to challenge it. Now, on to our First Friday Fun Challenge. While thinking about the quilts in this video, today's challenge is to make art that you feel connects you to your family or culture. What is something that's important to you, the way that corn, butterflies, or pottery are important to these Hopi quilt makers? What foods, animals, or stories are special for your home and family? You could draw, paint, embroider, quilt, or make a collage for your response. Whatever you choose to make, we'd love to see the results, and I hope you'll share your art with us in the comments below this video on Facebook or by tagging us at International Quilt Museum on Instagram. For more Hopi quilts, we invite you to visit the Painted Quilts of the Hopi Mesas exhibition in person at the International Quilt Museum between October 22nd, 2021 and April 30th, 2022, or online in our virtual gallery at internationalquiltmuseum.org/exhibition/painted-quilts-Hopi-mesas. If you are interested in the story of Field Mouse Goes to War, a PDF copy of the story can be found on the Arizona Memory Project website. Both that site and a link to a PBS-produced animated video of the Hopi origin story can be found in the description. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and thank you for joining us for First Friday Fun.